It's a tale as old as time. Customer starts getting the big fish. They want to get themselves an Oscar. They look around the fish that go to Oscars. They see the African Cichlid peacock. They ask the guy, can you get that fish and put it with that fish? The guy says no. So they get something else. Then they go to a friend's house and they notice that the friend has an Oscar or a Central or South American Cichlid in with their African Peacock Cichlids, and they go, hey, what the heck? The guy at the fish store said, I can't do that. Those lions, sons of... A lot of times I do these videos and I go into this whole thing on how it's a hot topic or it's a heated debate over this or that when it comes to adding Central or South American cichlids like the Oscar with African cichlids, namely the peacocks. First-time cichlid keepers often want to combine the two because they're both very beautiful fish, and they almost are always told no. I'm gonna go into the specifics on the two different types of fish, why the LFSs normally say no. Then I'm gonna go into my 2 cents and whether I think you can or cannot do it. A customer gets told no, then they find out from someone else. They look online or whatever at a YouTube channel and they see these two fishes living together in total harmony, and they're wondering to themselves, well, how is it that this happening? Somewhere there's an issue going on where I'm getting told one thing, the internet is saying one thing, but obviously there is a video saying something different. And I definitely can see where that person would be frustrated. But let's break it down first, right? Water parameters. Water parameters in the African cichlid is in the 8.0-ish up there, right? They like it pretty much up there. Whereas the Central and South American cichlids, they like it lower. The South Americans even like it lower than the Central American cichlids. But that doesn't really matter because a lot of these fish never seen the actual water parameters that their ancestors, where the wild fish of their species actually live in. They've been bred in captivity for so many generations. I actually think that if you actually drop these fish that have been bred in captivity for so many generations, if you've actually took them and put them in the water that they're supposed to, they might start glitching because the water is so strange to them. I'm curious to see what would happen to them long term, you know, like the glow angel, which has actually been mixed DNA wise with the saltwater jellyfish. You know what I mean? What would you do if you put it in the Amazon river that the pH is 4.0 that has DNA from a jellyfish where the pH is like ridiculously high and the salt content is like ocean. Basically what I'm getting at is that these fish that you buy at the fish store, while they do have different, you know, they'll say in the internet, oh, well, they take different water parameters. That's not really a good arguing point for me because neither one of these fish live in most cases in people's fish tanks in the parameters that their wild cousins or kindred cousins or whatever live in. They live in the same water parameters, which would be your tap water. Same goes for, you know, the temperature. A lot of these fish live in the same, you know, 70, 80 degree temperature. So the whole water parameter thing is not really, I mean, some people get all serious about it, but for the most part, the average African cichlid keeper or Central and South American cichlid keeper just uses whatever water comes out the tap. Whatever that is, that's what they live in. If you don't mind, I need to get your attention for one moment. I want to get a little serious, and please do not tune out because I feel like what I have to say is important. It's important because it's referring to someone very special to the channel. This person is a subscriber who kind of encompasses what this channel is designed for. The person that when I created this channel was targeted, and that's Ethan. For those of you who subscribe to my channel and come to my live streams, you also know who Ethan is. Ethan is a young man. When I say young, I think he's in middle school. Ethan tries to catch my live streams, but for whatever reason, he keeps missing them. Probably because I'd normally go late at night and Ethan should be in bed, or I'm going during the day and Ethan should be in school. So Ethan doesn't get to watch my live streams and participate like he used to. And he keeps messaging me saying, I missed your live stream. Ethan, I apologize for that. Ethan, is very inquisitive. He has a lot of questions about the fish keeping hobby. He wants to grow. He wants his kung fu to be strong. I don't know if this is real or not. I think it was in a movie like the Bruce Lee movie where he said chef working overtime to be the best chef basically is kung fu. The artist who works to make each brushstroke perfect, that's kung fu. So Ethan working overtime and learning everything he could and consuming everything good to be the best fish keeper he can, that's kung fu. Ethan is working hard to make his fish keeping kung fu strong. And just know that every time I gift free memberships for my members only, and I know when other people gift free memberships, they have you in mind. Please know that you make me proud that I started this channel and it's still doing what I meant for it to do, which is help people like you. So thank you, Ethan. You're very important to me because you let me know I'm still doing right. All right, enough of all the mushy stuff. Let's get into this African, Oscar, Central, South American cichlid stuff, right? Food. Now, here is a good arguing point in my opinion. Just because it says cichlid, that don't mean they eat the same types of food. The African cichlid takes more of a vegetarian type diet than the Central and South American cichlid that takes more of a meat carnivorous type diet. You will hear people can call both cichlids omnivorous, which basically means they'll eat anything, but they prefer to eat, the Central and South American cichlids, more of the meaty stuff, whereas the African cichlids will prefer to eat more of the vegetables type stuff. There are foods specially designed for each fish. So when you mix the two, you would have to basically give food that both of them will eat, which in my opinion is not really a bad thing. If the African cichlid eats some of the South and Central Americans food, and the Central and South American food, like the Oscar, eats some of the African cichlids food, I don't think that's a bad thing. So when people be like, oh, they take different diets, I always think a varied diet is actually a plus. Growth rate. This is where it differs. African cichlids grow at a fair growth rate for most people. I don't have a number for that. Most Central and South American cichlids grow faster than African, at least in my experience. I know the Oscars can grow an inch a month, up to 10 to 12 inches a year. You know, they could get full grown in a year. They grow normally faster than any other fish that I've seen, pretty much. But generally speaking, Central and South American cichlids grow really, really fast. Mainly because people love to feed them so much, but they grow really, really fast. Not saying that African cichlids cannot grow fast, but they top off at different sizes. Normally, Central and South American cichlids get way bigger. The African peacocks get about 8 inches, give or take an inch or two, right? They get about 8 inches, whereas the Central American cichlids can get anywhere from 5 to 10 to 12 to 18. It get ridiculous, you know. I mean, there are some African, but they're haps. That's a whole different. We're talking about peacocks here, right? Peacock. So the peacocks don't get as big, and the African, I mean, the Central and South American, the Oscar type fish, get a little bit bigger faster. That's important to know because you have to try and match aggression with sizes when you're trying to do this, right? Matching aggression with size is tricky because pound for pound, African cichlids are more aggressive than Central and South American cichlids. I mean, there are, you know, exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, generally speaking, if you have an African cichlid this size and a Central or South American this size, the African cichlid will be more aggressive. Kill it. Here, look, Old World is African cichlid. New World, Central and South American. It's just easier for me to say it. So the Old World cichlid is normally more aggressive pound for pound than the New World cichlid. But the New World cichlid normally gets bigger faster. So trying to play that matching game can be kind of difficult. Normally, New World cichlids do better when they have spaces on their own. There's an argument to be made, and I agree with both camps, that you need to give New World cichlids enough room so you can't pack a tank. Then there's other people that say, no, you got to pack a tank. I've seen both tanks do well. African cichlids, you kind of need to pack a tank so that it can water down the aggression. So trying to play that game with having Africans and New World cichlid, Old World cichlids and New World cichlids can be a little problematic. So how do people get away with it, right? I just gave you all these little, but this and that and that and this and this and this. So how is it that you see on YouTube people doing it? How is it that you went to your friend's house and they did it? My first opinion on how they did it is real simple. Dumb luck. They just went to the pet store. Either the people at the pet store didn't know any better and sold them the fish, or they did know better and they said, whatever, I don't care, I'm gonna do it anyway. And it just happened to work. It happens. The second way I think these things are able to work is that the fish keeper who is doing it is really good at being able to judge what the fish are doing. I'm sure that the fish keeper who did this had a very good grasp of fish behavior. And once they saw something happening, they knew how to address the situation, either by rearranging something in the tank, removing a fish, or adding more fish. Either way, the fish keeper was knowledgeable enough about fish behavior in Africans, Central Americans, and South Americans, Oscars, peacocks, whatever, to be able to mix these fish together. My personal opinion on this subject is simple. And here's where everybody's like, ooh, he's gonna go against the grain. In this particular case, I am going to be part of the camp sheep. I do not think you should mix these two together. Go sheeple. Oh! Some people like the variety. And to that I say, go for it. It's your tank. I will never tell you no. That's the one thing about this channel. I will never tell you no. I will tell you how to do it, how to do what you want to do. But I also would say, you know, my personal opinion is this, but it's your tank, more power to you, brother. Make it happen, captain. But if you really want to get the best out of your fish, you will cater to their individual needs. And you can't do that when you're mixing New World and Old World together. That's my personal take on it. And do you, boo-boo, do you. If you smelling what I'm cooking, if you picking up what I'm laying down, if you hearing what I'm yelling, then feel free to check out some of these other videos you may like. And if you want to subscribe and like and share, I'd appreciate that too. Thank you in advance.